my life is that कि जो भी कर रहे हैं वो हमारे गुरु कर रहे हैं, जो भी least preaching thing और whatever Krishna consciousness का हम प्रचार करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, it's all done by our Guru Maharaj. We are just the insignificant instruments.
Okay, thank you very much. Although ये जो last point आपने बताया कि everything that Guru is doing, so there's a slight subtle difference in that. So one is everything is happening by the mercy of Guru, and yet at the same time, you or we, all of us, are accountable for our own action. So we are doing our part as well. Again, so when we are worshipping the deity, so it's not that your Guru is worshipping the deity, although by the mercy of Guru, we worship the deity. And all offerings are passed on by Guru in Parampara. And yet at the same time, it is you who's the worshipper, not the Guru. Okay. Yes, other points?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Please share some other points. Everyone, one point. We'll ask everyone to speak. If you are not able to recall, open the books, check your notes, read, say 1 point at least. Okay, Binita Pradhan Mataji, can you share 1 point with us? Anything that you can recall?
No, Prabhuji, I don't recall it.
We can share anything, the meaning of the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the structure of the book, what is the title, anything, any 1 point. Sorry to bring all of you a little out of your comfort zone. We'll be doing that again and again.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I try, Prabhuji?
No, Binita Mataji is sharing something.
Okay.
We are waiting for you, Mataji. Okay, we'll come back to you, Mataji. Think 1 point that you'll share. Vivek
Okay.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam.
Yeah.
So, what I can recall is that we can only get the nectar of devotion or the bhakti from the kripa of our guru or a mentor only. So this is I can recall.
Okay. So we discussed the mode of a preacher and how Srila Rupa Goswami is saying that he's simply trying to distribute the message of Lord Chaitanya. Okay. What else did we discuss? Sumitra Mataji. Sumitra Chetri Mataji. Vivek Prabhu. John Prabhu. John Gurung Prabhu. Ye Mukund Priya Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Prabhuji, I was in Vrindavan. I just came back.
So you are the perfect candidate to share the nectar of devotion with us.
Prabhuji, I have missed actually your class, last class.
Okay, share something from first class then.
I missed your 2 classes, Prabhuji, because I was in Vrindavan. So
Welcome to third class. Okay,
next class I'll tell you. Please forgive me, please.
Divya Leela, Keshri Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam. In introduction part in last class, we discussed about 3 reasons why devotees are compared to shark. The first point is that shark lives in ocean, like that the devotees lives in ocean of bhakti rasa. The second reason is how shark rejects the river. So here river is compared to impersonalism. So devotees also rejects any other than bhakti. And the third reason is that sharks are never caught by fisherman's net. So that is also one reason. And the next, as you told, here Srila Rupa Goswami is very humbly submitting himself. He's just trying to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. This should be a mood of preachers. So this point I like. And we discussed about Anyabhilash, the Shunyam also. And one more point I can recall is that here we call Krishna. Krishna is not only Krishna. Krishna means Supreme Personality of Godhead. His expansions also is devotees. If I'm not wrong, this.
And his paraphernalia and abode.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Priya Mataji. You
Hare
share.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you taught about the exact and perfect definition of bhakti. It is a set of activities that are performed with the intention to please Krishna. And there are some secondary characters the devotee should be free from ulterior motives and fruitive purposes.
Okay. Mandleshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So yesterday you mentioned about Anushilam means and Anukulyam means, and you mentioned that Anushilam is cultivation, means by practical activity by body, mind, and speech. In attachment and practical activity, you told that there are 2 activities, do's and don'ts, pravriti and nivritti. You mentioned about this also. And you told that the target should be Krishna and practical should be activity of Krishna and intent should be pleasing to Krishna.
Okay, thank you.
And Anukulyam, you mentioned that it is means by performing activity for pleasing Krishna only in the mood and intention.
Okay, thank you. Binita Mataji, could you think of something? Janika Mataji. Okay, so 70% of students have kept their cameras off. They are not responding. How do you suggest we proceed? Okay, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan, like that. Okay, it's an invitation to all of you to please engage more. Switch on your camera mode. If there's anything that you're not able to understand, please ask 1 time, ask 2 times, ask as many times as you want. Okay, so let us proceed. So we discussed from the introduction, and specifically we spent a lot of time on that verse of Anyabhilashita Shunyam Gyan Karmadhyena Amritam Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. We discussed the Swarup Lakshan and Tatas Lakshan. What are the Swarup Lakshan? What is that thing that qualifies an activity under the school of Bhakti? There are 3 elements. First, the target is Krishna. And we discussed that Krishna means Supreme Lord, his all Vishnu expansion, his pure devotees, his paraphernalia, his abode. And then the next was Anushilanam. And Anushilanam means cultivation. So there are 2 points in that. Cultivation means it's a practical action. Action means it has to be done with body, mind, and words. So there's pravritti and nivritti, positive action, some list of do's, and nivritti, some don'ts. And second point that we discussed, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. That's how we cultivate something. And the third is anukulyena, that is performed with this intent. It is not simply action that is targeted to Krishna. It has the intent has to be there, that it is for pleasing Krishna. The intent, for favorable intent, is very much required. And then we discussed Tatastha Lakshan. There were two symptoms. The first was Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, and we discussed the meaning of Anya Bhilashita. Why Rupa Goswami is not writing Anya Bhilash, but he's saying Anya Bhilashita. And the second point that we discussed was Gyan Karmadi Anavritam, how the pursuit of philosophical search and specifically the impersonalism, that philosophy covers the devotional service. And we also discussed how certain karmakand activities cover the devotional service. And there are certain activities that do not cover. There are certain activities that do cover. So that was this is the definition of Bhaktir Uttama, Uttama Bhakti, pure devotional service. Any questions from anything from our last two classes before we proceed ahead?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Rupa Goswami writes Anya Bhilashita. So can you just little more elaborate on this point? Why has he written Abhilashita?
Okay, so we discussed that in detail in last class, Mataji. I think you were not there. So Srila Rupa Goswami is specifically referring to the quality of desire. Just like there's sweetness. So Abhilash, Abhilashita, that quality of desire. So this means there is no other desire than to please Krishna. But there are certain desire, just like a desire for survival, when there is certain danger and one wants to protect oneself, or the desires of, that are related to bodily function, evacuating, urinating, and so on. So those desires, if one is desiring these things, so these are not excluded from the realm of pure devotional service. These won't be considered as material desire. So these are included. Had Srila Rupa Goswami would have written Anya Bhilash Shunyam, that means that would be very exclusivist. There would have been no scope for these things. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So let us continue. So let us continue with the first chapter of Nectar of Devotion. How many of you have read this chapter? Can you raise your hands? You came after reading this chapter to the session. Okay, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Any other? Mukund Priya Padma Mataji and Anandita Mataji. No one else could spare time to read the chapter 1. Okay, I suggest you please read at least after the class. I'll not be reading the whole chapter in the class. Anyone of you could hear any of the class of Srila Prabhupada on Nectar of Devotion? Any one lecture? All of you received that link in your group?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Kal raat ko hi mila, so couldn't hear, but we'll make sure that we'll hear.
Yes, I gave yesterday night only. It skipped my mind. Okay, start with lecture 1 in that, then go to lecture 2, then to lecture 3, like that. So that each folder has Prabhupada class on Nectar of Devotion. It also has transcription, and there are also certain set of questions based on that class. So try attempting those questions as well. So far we discussed the definition of pure devotional service. Okay. So what are the characteristics of pure devotional service? So if someone performs those 4 devotional service, there are certain symptoms that emerge. Something wonderful happens. What are those? There are 6 specific characteristics of pure devotional service. Okay. The first and foremost is Klesha Agni. So and this particular definition that is composed by Srila Rupa Goswami and Nevilashita Shunyam. Srila Rupa Goswami gives the basis of the definition as also. He quotes 2 references, one from Bhagavatam and one from Narad Pancharatra. So one from the definition of Bhakti from Narad Pancharatra is Sarvapadhi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. Right? And the definition that he quotes from the Bhagavatam is from 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Srila Kapila Dev is instructing his mother Devahuti, and he's saying, "My dear mother, those who are my pure devotees and who have no desire for material benefit or philosophical speculation have their minds so much engaged in my service that they are never interested in asking me for anything except to be engaged in that service. They do not even beg to live in my abode with me." So how a pure devotee is completely selfless, is completely desireless. Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting this verse. So you will find that in entire Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami will be presenting a principle, and he will be quoting from various sources of scriptures to establish that principle. Just like here, he established the definition of Uttama Bhakti, and he gave the reference from scriptures. So you'll see in the entire book again and again and again. Even when he's defining rasa, so he'll be quoting Bhagavatam and he'll be quoting various pastime. And then he'll be describing each individual rasa and all the details. And for everything that he's saying, he's quoting from scriptures. So that is why we sang in the beginning, Nana Shastra Vicharanai Kanapunam Sadharma Sanstapako. They are scrutinizingly studying all the scriptures and establishing Sadharma. Okay. So what are those 6 characteristics of devotional service? First and foremost, okay. Can someone please read? Mandleshwar Prabhu, can you read 6 characteristics?
Yes, Prabhu.
They must be mentioned in your, I think, handbook also with their Sanskrit terms. So you can also refer them.
First point, pure devotional service brings immediate relief from the all kind of material distress. Pure devotional service. Second one, pure devotional service is the beginning of the all auspiciousness. Third point, pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. The fourth point, pure devotional service is rarely achieved. Fifth point, those in pure devotional service derive even the conception of liberation. Sixth point, pure devotional service is the only means to attract the Krishna. Krishna is all attractive, but pure devotional service attracts even him. This means that pure devotional service is even transcendental stronger than Krishna himself, because it is Krishna internal potency.
So 6 characteristics. What do we mean by characteristics? There are certain symptoms, certain elements by which you can identify, you can recognize this is pure devotional service. If someone is performing pure devotional service, these things are bound to happen. Okay, so that's why they are said to be the characteristics of devotional service, pure devotional service. And in the remaining chapter, Srila Rupa Goswami discusses this one by one. Okay, the first one is Klesha Agni. Klesha Agni means Klesha Agni, the fire of all the material distress is washed out. It brings, when there is pure devotion, wherever there is pure devotional service present, immediately there will be relief from all kinds of material distress. How and why? So let us discuss that. I want to ask all of you why there is distress in life. What is the source of distress?
Lust.
Sorry?
Lust.
Lust, okay. What else?
Desire.
Expectations.
Expectations, hankering, lamentation, okay. But is it not the soul's nature to desire? Okay. What are some of the other reasons for distress, for experiencing distress in life?
प्रभु जी असत के जगत में जो सत का नेचर है उसको फील करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं and just because of that we are distressed because we are not getting that happiness for which the soul is hankering for.
Okay, so soul is eternal and I want to experience eternal happiness, and in this temporary world I'm not able to get that. Okay, what else? What are other reasons of experiencing distress in life? Harshita Mataji says sense gratification, desire for sense gratification. Okay, what else? Why there?
Control.
Sorry?
Control on others.
Okay, desire to lord it over others. What else? What more are the reasons? I'm sure you must have covered
I'm
in
the owner and I'm the controller, but somehow I cannot be.
chapter 9 verse 2 purport. Can you recall? We already covered Bhagavad Gita. Rajvidya Rajguhyam Pavitram Vidam Uttamam. Why it is called as Pavitram? What happens? That purport Prabhupada explains the root cause of all suffering that comes in our life.
Ignorance.
Forgetfulness of Krishna.
Yes, forgetfulness
of Lord Krishna.
Yes, ignorance. What happens by ignorance? Okay, I forgot Krishna. Absolutely right answer. What happens next? What does this ignorance lead to?
It leads to illusion, making us understand that we are body. And when we understand ourselves to be body, we identify all the things in terms of body relationships, or we think that matter will give us only happiness. And then we are running after it. And it's kind of a mirage, which is not giving us happiness, but leads to sufferings.
Okay. Yes. So ignorance leads to sin. The sin is the cause of suffering, and the cause of pap and the sin is ignorance. The root cause of suffering is ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada therefore explains in this section the cycle of sin. How sinful action is performed, how it brings suffering, and how pure devotional service is the only means which can eradicate, which can nullify all stages of sin. There is no other process that can do that. And we'll see that shortly. Okay. So, yes, let us read first paragraph. Okay. Anish Gupta, Prabhu, can you please read? Anish Gupta, Prabhu.
Yes, yeah. Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says one should surrender unto him, giving up all other engagements. The Lord gives his word there that he will protect surrendered souls from the reactions of all sinful activities. Srila Rupa Goswami says that the distress from sinful activities are due to both the sins themselves and to sins committed in our past lives. Generally, one commits sinful activities due to ignorance, but ignorance is no excuse for evading the reaction. Sinful activities. Sinful activities are of two kinds, those which are mature and those which are not mature. The sinful activities for which we are suffering at the present moment are called mature. The many sinful activities stored within us for which we have not yet suffered are considered immature. For example, a man may have committed criminal acts but not yet been arrested for them. Now, as soon as he's detected, arrest is awaiting him. Similarly, for some of our sinful activities, we are awaiting distress in the future, and for others which are mature, we are suffering at the present moment. In this way, there is a chain of sinful activities and their concomitant distresses. And the conditioned soul is suffering life after life due to these sins. He is suffering in the present life the results of sinful activities from his past life, and he is meanwhile creating further sufferings for his future. Mature sinful activities are exhibited in if one is suffering from some chronic disease, if one is suffering from some legal implication, if one is born in a low, degraded family, or if one is uneducated or very ugly. There are many results of past sinful activities for which
We'll stop there. So, just wait, let me share. All of you are able to see this slide? Yes, no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, and you are able to see my cursor where it is moving?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. So, Srila Prabhupada writes, the cause of suffering is the sinful activities. See, here it is the sinful activities. Okay. Sinful activities leads to when an action is performed, then the result is bound to come. So, when the path has been performed, but result is not manifested yet, that is called as aprarabdha. That is unmanifest reaction. Okay. If the result is manifested, if someone is experiencing the result, that is prarabdha. And Srila Prabhupada gives certain example. For example, someone is experiencing chronic illness or some long legal implication in the court, or someone who's born in very downgrade family. So those are prarabdha. That means the result has been manifested. So when the result is manifested, it leads to suffering. Now, suffering is of two types. One is the bodily suffering, means gross body and subtle body experiences suffering, they experiences pain, they experiences distress, whatever we may call it. That is one way of suffering. That is one way of prarabdha. Now, the second way is the proclivity to commit that sinful act increases. That is called as kutam. So the font is not correct here. This is kutam. बीज पाप अप्रारब्ध प्रारब्ध और उसके बाद है कूटम. Okay? Kutam means the disposition, the inclination, that desire to perform sin again. That is also a result of pap. So there are two results. One is the suffering in life, either bodily or mentally. And the second type of result of pap is the kutam increases. The desire to perform sinful act increases. I may know this will lead to suffering, still I become attached to it. My proclivity to do that increases. So when that happens, that leads to another sinful desire, bija. So bij, that means the seed of sinful activity. That seed is the desire. That desire leads to pap. When the pap happens, there is unmanifested reaction that is called as aprarabdha. For example, if I have done any sin in my previously, but I am awaiting the distress or the result of that sinful act. So that means the action has been performed, but I am awaiting the result of that. That is called as aprarabdha. Now, unmanifested reaction, it manifests at a certain point in my life. That is called as prarabdha. And that manifests in two ways. One, it leads to suffering, and the other, it leads to kutam. My disposition towards that activity increases. And that's why it again leads to sinful desire. Now one can ask, what is the source of sinful desire? Why this desire comes? Just like all of you answered, that is avidya, ignorance, forgetfulness of Krishna. Is this cycle clear, or any questions are there? If you have any questions, you can ask. You can unmute yourself and you can ask.
जी ये बुक में जो फलोन्मुख लिखा हुआ आ रहा है, the फलोन्मुख word is there. So to what it relates to? Is it
Phala
kutam
means
or what?
this suffering, prarabdha. This is the phal
No,
of pap.
फलोन्मुख.
Yeah. The result of pap is twofold. One phalonmukha is suffering and the other is kutam. Okay, Mukund, Priya, Padma Mataji.
Prabhuji, what is the difference between bijam and kutam? I couldn't understand.
The kutam is the proclivity, the inclination. When there is an inclination, bijam is the desire. When you take a, the proclivity leads to the desire. Kutam is the inclination, and the bijam is now there can be lot and lot of bij, lot and lot of sinful desires.
Can you please explain?
The sinful desire, you can say, is a mature stage of kutam. Just like a fruit is there, so there are different stages of maturity are there. So kutam, for example, a person steals something, and which is a sin. So when he steals something, there may be a strong inner voice, don't do this, this is not right. But let us say he still steals anyway, and he performs that sin. then it leads to aprarabdha. The action has been performed, the result is awaited till the time police catches him or he's caught, that unmanifest reaction there. So once he's caught, he's put behind bars, that is suffering. He's insulted in public, he's beaten, that is suffering, that is prarabdha. That is one way. Now, second is his proclivity to sin internally in his inner consciousness increases. Earlier, there was a strong inner voice which said, don't do this. But next time, he won't, it will be easier for him to neglect that voice, inner conscience. And it will be easier for him to steal again. So that is proclivity. This leads to desire. When he finally, desire to, when he plans, okay, now I will steal this. On this night, let me go and have a robbery. That is sinful desire. So that is a mature stage of kutam, sinful disposition. And that desire, when he desire, okay, I want to rob on this and this particular night, that ultimately manifests in a practical papa, sinful activity. The source of all this cycle is avidya, ignorance.
So, Prabhuji, from the same example, we can understand even he knows the repercussion, even though he does all this theft and all this. So this is called avidya, right?
No, that is kutam, that is bija. Avidya is when he's forgetful of Krishna, when he identifies oneself with the body, when he doesn't know what is the real welfare, where is the real welfare, is by serving Krishna. When he's completely forgetful of that, that is avidya. And even avidya also, if you see in Bhagavatam, will have different types of avidya. When sharir avidya jal, judendriya tahekar. So in the context of, Brahma's teachings, pastimes, that different kinds of avidyas are given. But sum total here, avidya means forgetfulness of Krishna, where I identify myself with the body and I want to perform sinful action. That is avidya. When I negate Shastra completely.
So, Prabhuji, how to understand that point that the person knows everything, that this is a sinful reaction, and still he does that kind of activities? Or
so I may know, okay, this action leads to suffering, and still I may be attracted to that particular action. So that is called as sinful disposition. My attraction, my inclination to do that activity, why that inclination is present in this person and it is not present in some other person? Why someone is inclined to steal or lie, whereas some other person is inclined to be truthful and honest? What is the difference? Because this inclination, this proclivity is a result of his past sinful activity. That
is this from lifetime to other life?
Yeah. Not just this lifetime, all the previous lifetimes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Still we are in, Krishna as but we are in ignorance only. Prabhu. Still we are doing the same sinful activities. Then it is also, what type of this will we call? Kuta Bole, Prabhu. We are in Krishna consciousness also, we are doing some sinful activities and sinful desires are coming in mind, means this kutam only, Prabhu.
Yeah, that can be any of them. These are all interlinked. These are just different stages of maturity, you can say. And then therefore, you will see Srila Rupa Goswami says, Uttama Bhakti. The first characteristic is it can nullify all of these things. Uttama Bhakti nullifies ignorance. That is the root cause of this entire cycle. And therefore, it is the first characteristic of Uttama Bhakti is Klesha Agni. You know, in Shastra, if someone commits a pap, there are many forms of repentance. Okay. So if one if one does some prayashchit, it may be possible that one is able to nullify the suffering by undergoing some prayashchit. But that prayashchit does not address this kutam because it is very subtle in nature. You know, that sanskara that is formed on chitta, any prayashchit is not able to cleanse that sanskara or this kutam. That prayashchit may reduce the suffering or may nullify the suffering, but it cannot remove the kutam. There is only one process that can do that. That is Uttama Bhakti. Only by Bhakti Yoga, this kutam, this sinful disposition can be purified. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya says, Cheto Darpan Marjanam. This chitta that is compared to a mirror is cleansed by Harinam Sankirtan, or by the process of Bhakti Yoga. There is no other process that can purify chitta. The Bhakti Yoga can address the avidya. It can nullify this cycle from the root cause. There is no other process of prayashchit that can do that. The process of Uttama Bhakti purifies these sinful desires. It is the analogy is given: if the seed is roasted, then it doesn't fructify the plant. If you plant them in the ground, if you roast, fry those seeds. Similarly, if one is undergoing the process of Bhakti Yoga, those all desires are like roasted seeds, which does not bring forth any plants of suffering. Sinful activities, as soon as one takes initiation, the 4 regulatory principles, which are pillars of sinful life, one commits that I will not do: no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, right? No meat eating. These are the 4 pillars of sinful activities. One commits that I will not commit sinful activities. Okay.
Prabhuji, prayashchit is Karam-kand activity, and how the person knows that what kind of prayashchit he has to do?
In scriptures, there are many kinds of prayashchit are given for sinful activities. So different activities have a different form of prayashchit. It depends. All activities are not same. The killing of a brahmana is not same as a killing of an ant. Or if someone lied and if someone killed someone, these are on different level, different stages, right? So accordingly, there are different kinds of prayashchit based upon the kind of pap that one commits. So Shastras give various details. If you can recall in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one prayashchit, when was the devotee who was converted into Muslim, once someone threw water on him and he says, now you are Muslim.
Subudhi Roy.
Subudhi Roy, yeah. Thank you very much. And then he went to Brahmanas and he says the only prayashchit is you take hot ghee, boiling ghee, and drink that. That means they are saying you just die by drinking ghee and next life you'll be purified. And then Subudhi Roy went to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya says, don't worry, just go to Vrindavan, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, yeah, Shastras explain different forms of prayashchit. So, no, they're not karma kand. Karma kand is, how do you define whether something is karma kand or not? One, the purpose behind, and second, the goal of it. There can be many forms of tapasya, many forms of, renunciation, and some ritualistic activities that can come in form of prashchit.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any questions?
I have a little, I want to have little clarification as somebody asked just now. So even if we know that we do not, like for each one of us, from myself especially, like we know that we should follow, and we are following the 4 regs and all. ये भी है कि कभी मन में भी अपराध हो जाए, तो it says that in Kali Yuga we do not get, but you should not be stuck to it, You have to give away that thought even if it comes in your mind. And it says, it's written in the Nectar of Devotion and all the scriptures that this pure Krishna consciousness cleans all these things like that mentioned in the graph completely. It eradicates even the most, the least desire for all these things. But still, some things may come in the mind, even if you are not acting. So what is the cause for it?
So the cause is kutam only, the cause is avidya, the cause is bijam. The point is, even if that happens, there is no other process of a prashchit than uttama bhakti. That is the best process. It is not that you have to go outside and follow some process, become purified, and then you'll come and follow the bhakti process. No. The process is bhakti itself. Uttama bhakti, the first characteristic is klesha. That is the best form of prashchit. Krishna consciousness in itself is the best form of purification. So doesn't matter what comes in the mind or what happens. Point is, be focused on uttama bhakti. Take it seriously with tivrata. So it addresses ignorance, and then first thing it eradicates aprarabdha, then it eradicates kutam, then bijam, and then finally prarabdha. If our prarabdha are removed, that means even our body is gone. That this body is prarabdha. This body is a result of past sinful activity, this material body. So that goes in the last. Govinda, sorry. Okay.
Prabhuji, I would like to ask something, please. Prabhuji, as you said, sinful inclination leads to the sinful desire. So from many, many lives, we have many, many sinful desires stored in us. So, and as you said, pure devotional service is the only way to get rid of this. So, so still we see that we have a lot of sinful inclinations with us due to some intelligence of the shāstrās or hearing from devotees. When the desires come, we don't try to act on it, but still they are very, very heavily in us. So that means to understanding, okay, these inclinations are due to our past activities or reactions. So again, the focus, the solution is that we have to increase our devotional service or the practice of devotional service.
Yes.
But when we say that pure devotional service is the only way, so understanding now we have this now, the solution, the practical solution is what we should be doing so this goes away. That is first question I wanted to ask, and then one more, please.
The first question is follow uttama bhakti. If the pure devotional service, if you are performing pure devotional service, then this will naturally happen. So now if I am following pure devotional service simply because I want to get rid of sinful activities, and that is how I'm using the follow process of bhakti, then it is not uttama bhakti. Uttama bhakti is...
Then will come karam mishrit or something.
Yeah. So my innermost desire is whether sinful activity or not sinful activity, in my current present circumstance, I want to please Krishna and I want to follow the process of my bhakti yoga. So bhajan kriya that has been given to me by my guru, by sadhu sangha, let me follow that bhajan kriya intensely. The rest everything will follow. So here we are discussing this is a characteristic of pure devotional service. We are not discussing that this is the process in the sense this is the goal that I want to become free from all sinful activities. Yes, that happens naturally. That happens as a side product. But our goal is to please Krishna. If that happens immediately, or that happens in a lifetime or after 2 lifetimes, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma sucha. Krishna is guaranteeing you just take my shelter. I take that guarantee. I'll free you from all sinful action. But here Rup Goswami is establishing how the process of bhakti reigns supreme among all other kinds of processes. Uttama bhakti brings immediate relief from the fire of material life. That fire is experienced because of our sinful desires and sinful activities. And if we see and introspect in our own life, I hope and I'm very sure and confident that we all have experienced some sort of relief from the tap of this world. And when we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, when we take honor Krishna Prasad, when we follow a process, there is certain element of relief that comes in our life. If we compare our current life with our previous life when we were not following any process of Bhakti Yoga, the kind of attitude, the kind of miseries, the kinds of mental suffering, bodily suffering that were there, versus when you're following Bhakti Yoga. Even if the external circumstances are much more intense, devotees internally, they have that kind of, anchor and surety as Krishna is watching over, and they navigate a bit. Externally we may not be able to judge anyone, but internally there is always some relief from that tap. One is following Uttama Bhakti.
Prabhuji, second question is, Prabhuji, like we have sinful desires, so if we see that a lot of devotees from very, very young age only, they are attracted to maybe Bhagavatam, chanting, doing a lot of good things also. So this process works the other way around also, like we have bad sanskars because of sinful activities or desires. So similarly, the good sanskars also work in the same way. Like, how do we have like good sanskars in us? Or we say that I've heard like you have bad sanskars from previous lives, but you create new good sanskars now.
Yes.
So how to put now new good sanskars, or how to do this?
Same chapter 16 Bhagavad Gita. There are two kinds of nature, demoniac and divine nature. So Srila Prabhupada is giving an example. This impression, when one takes darshan of the deity, and Prabhupada gives an example. Parikshit Maharaj, he had a momentarily impression of Krishna when he protected Parikshit Maharaj in the womb from Brahmastra. And his entire life, he was searching for Krishna, and he was examining whether this person is like that person that I saw, and that is why his name was Parikshit. He was examining everyone. So Prabhupada gives an example. So if these impressions are strong of devotional service, then we'll be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. So these young children who are born in the devotee's family, from very birth, they are getting that sanskara and impression. That is the most fortunate thing, and that is the most rare birth in this world. So yes, that works in the same way. So the kind of sanskara on chitta are there. Accordingly, we desire and we perform actions in this world.
So, Prabhuji, understanding how should we create good sanskars now? I mean,
Bhajan, seriously.
Okay.
When we hear attentively, that's a good sanskara. And from chapter 2 onwards, there are all the 64 limbs of sadhana bhakti. We'll discuss that in there are 64 ways where you can do that good sanskara. And the sum total, if you have to take just one, the sanskaras are the most important fundamental point is sangha, association. The kind of association we are in, that kind of sanskaras will be there, that kind of impressions, and accordingly all that kind of desires we will manifest in our life. If we are in a association of pure devotees, there a moment of pure devotees association can wash off millions of lifetimes of bad sanskara. That is so potent, nothing can compare. If someone associates with devotees, I think Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur or Baldev Vidyabhushan, either of this great Acharya writes, this is how you wash all the bad sanskaras, by association with devotees whose hearts are cleaned. You hear holy name from them, you just witness them, they worshipping Krishna, you witness them how they, otherwise how was it possible, you know, all the Westerners, how much they interacted with Srila Prabhupada. Even one interaction, they carry that in their lifetime, which inspire them to become a devotee. So that is the most powerful and potent means of developing good. And there are others also, of course. Okay, last question and then we'll move ahead. Mandleshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. But we say that Prabhupada's time they were doing 64 rounds. All their God brothers were doing 64 rounds and is chanting all their, and we are doing only 16 rounds. That is also is a cleaning process. We say that rounds doing chanting is a cleaning process. And still we are seeing that in Prabhupada time also so many God brothers were not interacting with each other, and they were not ISKCON. They don't want to mix ISKCON in that. Means, Prabhu, what is the when it's only the please our Guru Maharaj, pleasing our Guru Maharaj is because we see that Srila Prabhupada was pleasing his Guru Maharaj's desire only. He could achieve that the great goal of becoming an Acharya. It's how to understand. If we can't please our own Krishna, we don't know his heart purely. But if we please our Guru Maharaj, we can reach that goal. Prabhu. That I was.
I am not sure if I understood your question rightly. Are you asking what was the reason that Srila Prabhupada could achieve success in his life?
Yes, Prabhu.
And his God brothers did not. Is it like that?
Yes, Prabhu. That also because that one question was that all because that time they were doing 64 rounds, but Prabhupada made it to 16 rounds. They were chanting 64 rounds every day. God
So-
brothers. And but heart was still not contemplated. Still they are not
So
understand this philosophy properly.
okay, so many points comes to me. First and foremost, if you read Srila Prabhupada's book, Prabhupada never says 16 rounds. He says at least 16 rounds. At all places, he says Kirtaniya Sadahari. One should chant 24 hours a day. That's Lord Chaitanya's standard. Kirtaniya Sadahari. Okay. Now, secondly, Srila Prabhupada, God brothers, everyone is an individual soul. Everyone was trying. There was a lot of confusion, and it is very naturally that happens. And when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left, there was chaos, there was confusion. Okay. And many devotees individually tried to handle that situation and respond to what they were going through, confusion and chaos at that moment in their own best way, right? So it's not that only Srila Prabhupada went to the West. Yes, Srila Prabhupada went. He carried that legacy of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Absolutely no doubt about that. And yet there were other god brothers and who were trying in their own ways. If we study the history, what pursued after that, there was so much of chaos, and everyone was trying their best. And yes, Srila Prabhupada, he says multiple times, the reason for my success is that I want to please Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. That was his only desire. Now, third, um, uh, even someone who is following this process purely without any fault throughout his life, even that person can slip, even in the last stages of life. Bharat Maharaj, he almost achieved perfection in life, right? And he slipped at the stage of bhav. But the point is, how do we address so-called external failures in life? There are stories of sannyasis who were so, in ISKCON I'm saying, they were following process so purely, and they were known for that throughout their world. But slight slip happened, and everyone started criticizing. That sannyasi got involved with a woman, and it was not even very big thing. He just talked. There was on a very beginning stages, but everyone started criticizing, started condemning. So externally, you may see, externally one may see why this is happening, and is this a failure? But internally, what was going on between that soul and Krishna, no one knows. And he shared that perhaps that was the only thing he had, his pure reputation in this world, and Krishna took that. Krishna even took that away. Internally, he became so akinchan, he had nothing except Krishna, and he surrendered exclusively. Who knows it? That example. But that is not the point. The point is, even if slip happens, Krishna protects. Even if that happens, the shelter one needs to take is of Bhakti and Bhagavan. There is no secondary process that one does. And finally, we cannot estimate for individual person, okay, for him, he has followed for these many years, so that's why these many sins are gone and these many sins are remaining. There's no mathematical equation like that. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this cycle of karma is so complicated. No one can understand where its roots are and how deep it goes. So everyone has a personal account, personal relationship with Krishna. Krishna takes care. Krishna responds very individually with all the devotees, and how he inspires and purifies the devotee. It is between that devotee and Krishna.
Prabhu, one question last. That Prabhu, main aim of the Krishna consciousness is our desire to fulfill our Guru Maharaj desires, or because we are taken as a shelter, we have to please him only because if you see the Prabhupada has fulfilled his desires of Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, like
So,
that. So to please our Guru Maharaj, that
yes, it is our goal. It is our philosophy. Yes, but what are those desires? His desires are not something very exclusive. His desire is, one time one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how can we please you? And there were many devotees in the room, and this question was asked by a book distributor, and they were wanting to hear from Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, "By distribute more books, and that's how you please me." And that's why they asked that question. But Prabhupada replied very simply, just try to love Krishna. So what is Guru's desire? Guru simply is wanting you to love Krishna. That is the sum and total of his desire. And he's wanting you to carry that legacy forward of, a mission of Krishna. And what is that legacy? That is the legacy of compassion. His mood is para dukha dukhi. He's distressed seeing the suffering of others. And he knows only Krishna consciousness can bring happiness to people's life. And that is why he accepts disciples to assist him in his mission. And that is what he's requesting. And the basic instruction that he has given, that his instructions are same as the founder Acharya, right? And founder Acharya says among all instruction, the most important is to complete your 16 rounds with attention. Chant your 16 rounds with attention. And yes, there are more ways where we can bring pleasure to the spiritual master. They all will manifest from this seed, this desire. I want to please you. How can I serve you? This one question, how can I serve you, is a very profound question. It's not a simple question to ask. Then there will be 30 seconds of statement and your 30 years are gone, simply fulfilling that 30 seconds of instruction. How can I serve you? Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur just told Prabhupada, if you ever get money, print books. But what Prabhupada had to go through to print those books. He started writing Srimad Bhagavatam. Every night he sacrificed his sleep. He fasted. He went through so much just to arrange some paper to publish those books. He traveled all over India just to raise sponsorship to publish those books. And that's not all. Once books are published, how do you store it? How do you distribute it? All the things, But it all sprang from that one question, how can I serve you? But how will this question emerge in our consciousness? That is the point. That will happen when there is a relationship with Guru. When there is a relationship that goes beyond formality. That is a deeper relationship with Guru. That develops when we follow his Vani. It's not simply, oh, my Guru Maharaj saw me and he acknowledged me and he asked me, how are you? And that is, yes, that is one level, but the substantial level emerges when we hear his Vani and we try to follow that in our own lives. So when there is a relationship, then this question will come, how can I serve you? How can I please you? Because I love you so much. And vice versa also. It starts with formality. It starts with, and gradually it turns to much deeper relationship.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And Guru is not just exclusive Guru and there is no one else. Me and my Guru and I don't care about the whole world. It's not even like that. This Guru is a link in Guru Parampara which is beginning from Krishna. It's not... the broader concept of Guru Tattva is that you see all other jivas in relationship with Krishna and Guru Tattva. We see that my Guru is always watching over and I treat everyone rightly. Okay, let us please move forward.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam. Prabhuji, I tried to ask 3-4 times, but every time I couldn't ask. So I do not understand the difference between Kutam and Bijam.
Kutam and Bijam, Mataji, understand they are the same thing, just at different stages of maturity. Kutam is the inclination. प्रवृत्ति जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं, किसी चीज को करने की प्रवृत्ति.
Isn't it pravriti is synonym for desire. Pravriti hai tabhi to ichha. Matlab pravriti or ichha isn't the same thing.
Pravriti is much more subtle. Desire is when you take when you start contemplating on it, when you start planning about it. I desire to steal. I desire to rob on this particular day. That is a desire. But that inclination is a even more subtle and a prior stage to it. Why one person has a desire and other person does not get that desire? Why one person gets a desire to break regulative principle and the other person does not get that desire? Why? Because in certain person that inclination, that pravrti is more. Why that inclination is more? Because this is one of the result of sinful action.
So we might not be consciously aware of proclivities, but we are consciously aware of desires. Is that so?
Yeah. Once someone points us, when we start cultivating knowledge, we become aware that this proclivity is there. For example, there are two person. One person wants to smoke. He desires to smoke. Someone is smoking for the first time. But then the next time for him, smoking may be easier. And the third time, and the fourth time, and the 10th time, and the 100th time. 100th time, he may not be even think it would be just natural, a part of his behavior. His inclination is so strong.
So, Vijay, if two persons are there with a group of smokers, and both of them initially do not smoke, but one of them starts smoking after associating with the smokers, and the other person did not. So, can we say that the first person had previous samskaras or previous proclivity that got woken up in the association, and the other person did not?
Definitely, we can say that.
It's like samskaras.
The previous sanskaras can be triggered when comes in that kind of environment and situation. And that is why one of the way to control lust is to stay away from those triggers. And secondly, it is also possible that may not have previous sanskaras, but by association, one gets that impression and desire. Sangat sanjayate kama. As you associate, you become influenced by that. Because jiva is tatastha shakti. So if you are in experience in close association with Bhairanga Shakti, those desires may come. If you are in experience close association with Antaranga Shakti, those kinds of desires may come.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So after explaining the first characteristic, that is Klesha Agni, relief from relief from the distress, material distress. And the second is Shubhada. That means by practicing Uttama Bhakti, one attains Shubhata or auspiciousness in life. What do we mean by auspiciousness? How do we get auspiciousness in life? When we say our life is auspicious or something is auspicious, what exactly do we mean by that? So Srila Rupa Goswami gives a very specific criteria of defining auspiciousness. So Srila Rupa Goswami says there are 4 criteria which make something auspicious. What are they? First, that activity benefits everyone. Second, it attracts everyone. Third, it produces good qualities. And fourth, it bestows superior happiness. If these 4 criteria are there, then it is all auspicious. If just 1 or 2 or 3 criteria is there, it is auspicious, doubt. But if all 4 are there, then it is supremely auspicious. And Srila Rupa Goswami establishes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that through the practice of Uttama Bhakti, all the 4 elements, all the 4 criteria are met. And therefore, the second criteria of Uttama Bhakti is Shubhada. It brings auspiciousness to life. So how it brings auspiciousness, let's discuss one by one of these 4 criterias. So first is it benefits everyone. So Srila Prabhupada and all others explain how spreading of Krishna consciousness is the highest welfare activity. There is wherever there is Krishna consciousness, it benefits everyone, not just humans, but in all species of life. What is the example? When Lord Chaitanya was traveling through Jharkhand, the Sankirtan movement, Srila Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami is quoting that analogy. Even the tigers, the elephant, the deers, and all other wild animals joined him and were participating in their own ways by dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. So, then the next criteria is it attracts everyone. So it benefits everyone and it attracts everyone. So Prabhupada writes, it is so nice that it can render highest benefit to human race. What is that highest benefit? Prema Pumartho Mahan. Krishna consciousness. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Padayate. It benefits everyone. It attracts everyone. And this example of Lord Chaitanya attracting all the animals in Sankirtan is given. And the quotation is also given from Padma Puran. Okay. Then third is it produces good qualities. Which verse of Bhagavatam says that? 5:18-12. One who has unflinching faith in Krishna consciousness are without any duplicity and can develop all the good qualities of demigods. So that is the third criteria. And the fourth criteria is it bestows superior happiness. There is one more example that Srila Prabhupada gives in development of good qualities. Says even if a Krishna conscious boy is there or any Krishna conscious student is there, they may not be very well advanced from university standards, but they can immediately give up illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. On the other hand, someone can be very qualified, materially speaking. They may have a lot of degrees with them. They may be highly situated in material, by material standards, yet they may be attached to these sinful activities. Prabhupada writes, we experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas, nightclub, naked dance show, restaurant, liquor shops. He becomes completely free. He saves his valuable time from being extravagantly spent in the way of smoking, drinking, attending the theater, and dancing. And finally, it bestows superior kind of happiness. So, Prabhupada writes, there are 3 kinds of happiness. Actually, Rupa Goswami explains this point of happiness multiple times in 6 characteristics. So one of them is in this, that it is Shobhada, because it bestows superior kind of happiness. And then again, in the next characteristic, so let us complete this character, that the second characteristic is Shobhada. The third characteristic of Uttama Bhakti is, what was the third characteristic? Can you go and check? It derides even the happiness of liberation. Moksha laghutakrit. मोक्ष से मिलने वाले जो खुशी है वो भी लघु है, वो भी कम है. So therefore, Rupa Goswami explains in this context once again, there are different sources of happiness. What are they? Material enjoyment, the happiness of liberation, and then happiness from Krishna consciousness. So he compares all these kinds of happiness with the happiness of Krishna consciousness. And he says, establishes that happiness of Uttama Bhakti is superior. Why? He says two reasons. One, the happiness of Krishna consciousness is eternal. There is no other happiness that is eternal, not even the liberation one. Since even the liberated soul who becomes one with the Supreme can fall down. Govinda. They can fall down once again into material level. So what to talk about material enjoyment or out of the yogic perfection and Ashtasiddhis? So none of them are eternal. That's one reason. And the second reason is that the Uttama Bhakti, the happiness, includes all the lower kinds of happiness within it. And therefore, he is quoting various references to establish this point. One is Lord Shiva is speaking to wife Sati. Can someone please read?
Lord Shiva speaks to his wife Sati in this way. My dear wife, a person who has surrendered himself at the lotus feet of Govinda and who has thus developed pure Krishna consciousness can be easily awarded all the perfections desired by the impersonalist, and beyond this, he can enjoy the happiness achieved by the pure devotees. Happiness derived from pure devotion service is the highest because it is eternal. The happiness derived from material perfection or understanding oneself to be Brahman is inferior because it is temporary. There is no preventing one's falling down from material happiness, and there is even every chance of falling down from this spiritual happiness derived out of identifying oneself with the impersonal Brahman. It has been seen that great Mayavadi impersonalist sannyasis, very highly educated and almost realized souls, may sometimes take to political activity or to social welfare activities. The reason is that they actually do not derive any ultimate transcendental happiness in the impersonal understanding and therefore must come down to the material platform and take to such mundane affairs. There are many instances, especially in India.
We'll stop here, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes.
So then Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting Prahlad Maharaj, who's praying, "My dear Lord, I repeatedly pray unto your lotus feet that I may simply be stronger in devotional service. I simply pray that my Krishna consciousness may be more strong and steady, because happiness derived out of Krishna consciousness and devotional service is so powerful that with it one can have all the other perfection of religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and even the attainment of liberation from material existence." So that's the second reason why Krishna conscious happiness is higher kind of happiness. It includes all the other kinds of happiness within it. 500 rupee note contains all the smaller denomination notes within it. And there's another example of Kola Vecha Sridhar, who was a very poor man. But when during the Vaibhav Prakash Leela, Lord Chaitanya asked him, "What do you want? I can offer you anything." And he said, "I just want you to come and bargain my banana leaves again and again every day. I don't want the kingdom of Indra. I don't want the Ashtayog Siddhis, nothing else. Nanaka Prisham Nachaparam Ishchayam Na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhim punarbhavam va. Even with Asura praying, I do not want any of these things if they take me away from your lotus feet. So all the references are there to establish moksha lagutakrita. The happiness of pure devotional service derides even the happiness of liberation. So Shubhada is there, moksha lagutakrita is there, and then Sudurlabha, that is, it is very difficult to achieve. So the rareness of pure devotional service. So why pure devotional service is so difficult to achieve? That's the fourth characteristic. If Krishna is so merciful and is so well-wisher friend of everyone, why he just doesn't make it everything so simpler and accessible? Why he has kept this pure devotional service so rare for devotees to achieve? Yes, Arupani Mataji.
No one can purchase Krishna. Krishna can only be like, if you take the Damodar Leela, Mother Issue, just by the love, Krishna can be bound. So, and when once he is bound, so he, when he loves, Krishna loves everyone, but when he is bound in devotee's love, he says that he's not able to repay that love. So what he does, he gives himself. So just like a a person who is a creator of whole universe, all universes are coming from him, everything, he's a he's an originator of everything, and what he's saying that you can purchase him. So that's what.
Okay, yes, excellent, thank you. So yes, exactly, these are the two reasons. One, we cannot attain it by our own efforts. That is why it is Sudurlabha, so difficult to achieve. You may be doing all the things you can with your best ability. Still, it is not guaranteed that you will get it. It's till the time Krishna gives or his pure devotees gives, you may not get it. Srila Prabhupada was saying in one of his lectures, it is not that Krishna has to accept everyone. Krishna is an individual person. He may reject it. You may be doing all the bhajan in this world. You may be chanting 64 and 192 rounds every day, and still you may not get it. Doesn't mean that I should not make any effort, but my effort alone are not sufficient or the complete guarantee to complete success in itself. That's one reason. And second, Krishna himself is very reluctant to give. Why is reluctant to give? Because this Uttama Bhakti has the power to control him. Who would like to be controlled by others? And Krishna knows that if someone has pure love, then he's bound by that affection. That's why Lord Chaitanya said so many times in relation to his pure devotees, even if that devotee goes and sell, he can go and sell me in the market, he has purchased me with his love. Right? So that's why it is Sudurlabha, it is very difficult to achieve. So our acharyas also explain there are 6 characteristics that are given on Uttama Bhakti. Srila Rupa Goswami defines that the two characteristics, the first 2 characteristics manifest at the stage of sadhana bhakti. The next 2 characteristics manifest at the stage of bhav bhakti, and the last 2 characteristics manifest at the stage of prema bhakti. So then, when we are talking about moksha laghutakrit, that means derides the happiness of liberation, and sudurlabha, difficult to achieve. It manifests at the stage of bhav bhakti. So we are specifically talking about the bhav. Krishna gave it, the bhav bhakti. So sadhana bhakti in itself cannot directly bestow bhav. It can be achieved only by Lord's grace. So our sadhana is ultimately to attract the mercy of Krishna. Our sadhana we should perform in such a way that it convinces Krishna to bestow bhava or his prem. I can check whether my sadhana is on that standard. Is it on that level where Krishna would be convinced to bestow his bhava to me? So I can strive for that sincerity and honesty and simplicity that it convinces Krishna. So then the last two are, the fifth one is incalculably condensed bliss. Sandarananda Visheshatma. This manifests at the stage of prema bhakti. So Srila Rupa Goswami writes that just like a nothing can penetrate metal because its molecular density is so concentrated, similarly the happiness of prema bhakti is so densely concentrated that nothing else can penetrate it. No other perception or thought can even momentarily register in the devotee's mind, in a prema bhakta's mind. And then Rupa Goswami gives the reference. It says that if Brahmanand, that means the happiness of becoming with Brahman, is multiplied by 1 trillion fold times, the happiness of liberation or becoming one with Brahman is multiplied by 1 trillion times. Still, that happiness cannot compare even with the atomic fraction of happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. Trillion and trillion times happiness of Brahmanand is incomparable to even the smallest fraction of happiness that comes from Prema Bhakti. So Prema Bhakti, it completely eclipses the happiness derived from any other means. It is so condensed bliss that there can be no other thought, no other desire than the pure happiness. So again, so you see, Rupa Goswami has brought up the subject matter of happiness 3 times. One was in Shubhada, then Moksha Laghutakrit, and then this Sandarananda Visheshatma. But all 3 happiness are on different stages of bhakti. When he was talking about Shubhada, he's talking about sadhana bhakti. In the next time, he's speaking about bhav bhakti. And the third time, he's speaking about the prema bhakti happiness. And finally, the 6th characteristic is Sri Krishna Karshini. It attracts Sri Krishna. So prema bhakti is so powerful that it attracts and controls even the all-attractive supreme controller Sri Krishna. We all are controlled by our own attachments, and we become attached to what gives us pleasure. Right? That is why, the Atma Rao, the self-satisfied person, they can be detached and independent. So the Lord is Atmaram. Nothing external can attract the Lord. Only his own internal pleasure potency can attract him. So thus the Lord is attached to and controlled by Ladini Shakti. And the essence of Aladini Shakti is love of Godhead, Prema. Therefore, one who has Prema can control and attract Krishna. So Shri Krishna Akarshani, it attracts even the supreme attractor, supreme controller Krishna. So again, there are 2 degrees of control. So when we are talking about Sudurlabha, Rupa Goswami is mentioning that Lord is controlled by his devotees' love. And the 6th characteristic also notes that the Lord is controlled by love. But Sudurlabha manifests at the stage of Bhav, whereas Sri Krishna Akarshani manifests at the stage of Prema. So at Bhav, devotee begins to attract the Lord. At Prema, the devotee enters in the Lord's pastime and attracts and control Lord in a very personal and in a very active relationship, just like in the example of Pandavas. So this completes chapter 1. I would suggest please read on your own part. So for each characteristic, Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting various references from scriptures. We have covered some, we have left out some, but please do read them on your own part. If you have any questions so far, you can please ask. Else, let us continue to chapter 2.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you mentioned that from sadhana bhakti one cannot do bhav bhakti. Something you just mentioned before, Sandra.
Just by executing sadhana, it doesn't guarantee that you will achieve bhav. The bhav is given by the Lord. Your own personal endeavor plays a very important role, no doubt, but they are not in itself a criteria to give bhav. You can get bhav only when Lord gives you. Yes, Mataji, Rukmani Mataji.
See, we are talking about sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prema bhakti. I have few terms, like 3 terms: bhog unmukhi bhakti, moksha unmukhi bhakti, and bhakti unmukhi bhakti. So, does it? Are we gonna read it, or if you can tell, is this the right term? But I have heard by my senior.
Say again, one by one.
Bhog unmukhi bhakti.
And second.
Moksha unmukhi bhakti.
And third.
Bhakti unmukhi bhakti.
So I'm not sure in which context they are used, but by listening to these terms, my understanding is bhog unmukhi bhakti, that by if you're doing devotional service, but your facilities for sense gratification is increasing. And the next was moksha unmukhi bhakti, right?
Yes.
You're performing devotional service, but it has contamination, and it is simply meant to you're performing devotional service, but the goal is moksha. The goal is not Krishna Prem. And the third is you're performing devotional service. The goal is Krishna, and it leads to more devotional service.
Does it have relation with bhav bhakti or sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti or prema bhakti?
I don't think so. It's not talking about these stages of devotional service, but in general about bhakti. The concept of bhakti, the definition of anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karmadi navritam. So karma navritam is like bhog unmukhi, jnana maratam is like we are wanting liberation. But then uttama bhakti is simply bhakti generates bhakti.
So you mentioned that why is pure devotional service Sudurlabha? So you, please correct me if I'm wrong. That first point is that we cannot attain Krishna by our own efforts. It's by only Krishna's and devotees' mercy you can get. Otherwise, you cannot, right? And the second is that Krishna himself is reluctant to get bound because to give, because by periods one can bind Krishna, so he is not he doesn't want to get bound easily.
Yes, he want to ensure that you will not misuse. Krishna is an individual, he's a person, and he's a Atma person. He's self-satisfied. And here he is giving his love by which that self-satisfied person is now can be controlled by someone else. How's that possible? So that's why he's reluctant to give. But if the love is so pure that he cannot even, he has to give up his reluctance, and his heart melts so much that he says, I'm totally bound by your love. Your love is so pure that I'm not able to resist.
But Krishna says that I love all. So that's how he is sitting in our hearts, in every body, every lives we take.
Yeah, so all of
He's
us
right
that
us.
opportunity and access to love Krishna. And that is why Srila Prabhupada says, what to speak about becoming one with Krishna? Devotee is even greater than Krishna because they can control Krishna. He says, all Mayavadis, you want to become one with Krishna. The pure devotees can control Krishna. Then, in that sense, they are even greater than Krishna. That is why Prabhupada says, if you approach Krishna directly, Krishna may reject. But if you approach through Srimati Radharani, because Srimati Radharani's love has completely bound Krishna. If Srimati Radharani suggests something, Krishna won't be able to reject it.
Yes.
Okay, we still have 15 minutes and we have a lot of chapters to cover. So let us begin with chapter 2 also. We'll continue tomorrow, but let us establish a context to it. So now we are entering the second layer of Purva Vibhag. Okay, we are doing the Eastern Division. We discussed how Eastern Division has how many layers? Anyone remembers?
4.
Yes. So the first layer described the Samanya Bhakti. What is Bhakti and what are its characteristics? Now the second layer speaks about the Sadhana Bhakti, right? And this second layer, that means the topic of Sadhana Bhakti, it continues from chapter 2 to chapter 15, I think. Right? It talks about the Sadhana Bhakti.
2 to 16.
2 to 16, yes, Sadhana Bhakti. And 17, 18, that's a third layer, third wave that deals about Bhav Bhakti. And chapter 19, the fourth wave deals about Prema Bhakti. So chapter 2 to 16, we are entering into the second wave of Eastern Division of Nectar of Devotion. So, in this chapter, the title is The First Stages of Devotion. Can someone please read the first paragraph?
The three categories of devotional service in which Srila Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are listed as devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead. There are many subheadings in each of these categories. Generally, it is understood that in the category of devotional service in practice, there are two different qualities. Devotional service in ecstasy has 4 qualities, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead has 6 qualities. These qualities will be explained by Srila Rupa Goswami later on.
Okay, so The first two qualities at the first level as of Sapa Bhakti, then the next two qualities along with the first two is that means 4 at Bhav Bhakti and then 6 Prema Bhakti. So now first thing is, what is the qualification for practicing devotional service? Srila Rupa Goswami discusses that in this chapter. What is the qualification for practicing devotional service? Bhakti.
Shraddha.
Shraddha. Yes, thank you. So what is Shraddha? So if it is a law book, then Rupa Goswami has defined it very objectively, each and everything. It's not just some abstract concepts that we're talking about here. Every thing in minutest of detail, Srila Rupa Goswami has given us crystal clearly, so that there's no scope for confusion. So Srila Rupa Goswami explains the qualification of practicing. So first he talks about what is Uttama Bhakti, then he talks about what is the 6 characteristics of Uttama Bhakti, and now he's speaking about the qualification for practicing Uttama Bhakti. And he says the qualification is, to begin is, if we simply have an attraction to executing devotional service. If someone is attracted, he's qualified, he or she is qualified to begin it. Now, how is that attraction comes in a person? And then Rupa Goswami says this attraction comes by performance of devotional service in previous life. So one can say, wait, what are you talking about? You are saying that attraction is the qualification, but that qualification comes by practicing devotional service in previous life. Is this not circular? Attraction leads to qualification, but that attraction comes from executing devotional service. So how does the process begin? And then Rupa Goswami says, yes, it may seem circular. Therefore, the beginning point is when someone receives a devotee's mercy. Now, someone can say, who decides who receives the mercy of a devotee? And Rupa Goswami says that's causeless. There is no cause to it. You cannot attribute any cause to it. He was qualified in this way, he did this, and therefore he attracted. No, it's causeless. How do we define this mercy? When we say by devotee's mercy, what does it signify? Devotee ने ऐसा क्या किया? उसको देखा, उसके सर पे हाथ रख दिया, उसको कुछ दे दिया. What happens, when you say what do we mean by devotee's mercy? So it says agyata sukriti. See, knowingly or unknowingly, he executed some devotional service. Some Sankirtan was going, he does not know who is Krishna, who is Gaunidaya, what is this procession, and he says, oh, they are causing such traffic jam, who are these people? Okay, let me help. He gets down from the car, stops the other cars, allows them to pass peacefully. His motive was so that there's no traffic jam and I can pass on quickly, whatever it may be. Knowingly, unknowingly, he executed some sort of service and he got some paying. He executed some devotional service that is called as Agyat Sukriti. So when that Agyat Sukriti is comes to that account, then there's one more Agyat Sukriti and more Agyat Sukriti at different stages of life in different lifetimes, whatever. It may take one lifetime, it may take billions of lifetime to get that Agyat Sukriti. But when that Agyat Sukriti comes, what happens? The attraction towards devotional service, to bhakti, manifest in one's heart. There is a slight taste, there is slight attraction to bhakti. And this attraction grows as we engage in more devotional service. And eventually, it grows to such a point then that one takes a commitment to the process of sadhana bhakti. It may take many lifetimes. So what is the cause of bhakti? There is no cause. This is causeless mercy. Through that causeless mercy, or which is called as agyat sukriti, there is some attraction for devotional service. And with that little attraction, one performs little devotional service and that attraction increases. And when that attraction increases, that person performs more devotional service. And that attraction further increases. And then finally it reaches such a point that one commits to the process of sadhana bhakti. So our qualification for sadhana bhakti depends upon the strength of our taste or attraction to Krishna, how strongly one is attached, how much taste one has towards Krishna. The greater is the taste, the greater is the qualification. And that is why Srila Rupa Goswami says,
Can you just repeat what you said? The greater the taste, greater the attraction. Just before that, you said something I missed it.
So our qualification for sadhana bhakti depends upon the strength of our taste towards Krishna. Strength of, when I say taste, it means attraction to Krishna. So the more pronounced our taste, the greater is our qualification. And therefore Srila Rupa Goswami writes, the person eligible for Krishna consciousness or devotional service can be classified by his particular taste.
Prabhuji, but there is a question here. Can I ask?
Wait. Come to questions, no problem. So, our advancement in Krishna consciousness. I was scrolling the page. I realized I did not share the screen. Oh God. So, our advancement in Krishna consciousness is not based on our intellectual abilities. I am so intelligent, or I am so rich, or I am this and I am that. No material qualification. But the only qualification is our taste for hearing Krishna Katha. If you can open page 19 in your books, I mean, I will search here. See here. Can be classified by his particular taste. So qualification is not whether you are a male or you're female. The qualification is not whether you are an Indian, non-Indian. The qualification is not how intellectually developed you are, how less you are, how do you look, how much glow is coming on your screen and how much glow is not coming on your screen, all the different this and that, how well you sing or how poorly you sing. These are not the criteria. What is the criteria? How much are you attracted to Krishna? How much you are attracted to hear Krishna Katha? This is how much taste you have for Krishna Katha. You means we all applies to everyone. Yeah. So, yeah, that is a qualification for executing devotional service. That is the taste. So tomorrow we'll start with the definition of sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? So it's 9:30. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. If you have to leave and you have a question, you can ask tomorrow. Those who want to go, please feel free. If you have any question, you can stay back, you can ask as well. Yes. Anandita Mataji had question, then Harshita Mataji, then Rukmani Mataji.
Prabhuji, you mentioned that the taste or the first stage of devotion starts like it is written from the particular taste. So there are two questions in this regard. The first thing that it continues from the previous life, and you were talking about the Agyat Sukriti part. So that Agyat Sukriti one may have derived in some life, and then he or she continued devotional service in some of his or her previous lives. Maybe it obviously it is not completed, then somehow it is continuing in this life. So the Agyat Sukriti part that you mentioned, it has come somewhere sometime, or a lots of abundant Agyat Sukriti when it gets mature, then one gets into the Bhagavad Bhakti. How's that?
Yeah, you're right. What you're saying is right.
So, but
one executes knowingly, unknowingly some sort of devotional service. One devotee is passing on the street. You lift their luggage and you help them. You do not know that is a devotee. You don't have absolutely no connection with Krishna, but some knowingly, unknowingly service you did. Your points are credited. You got Agyat Sukriti. So when Agyat Sukriti, you get Agyat Sukriti, as a result of that Sukriti, what happens? You get a certain taste, certain attraction towards Krishna. Now one can ask, what caused that person to be at that place where the devotee was there?
True.
What caused that person? Because it's causeless. That Rupa Goswami says it's causeless. You can go and ask what is the cause of Agyat Sukriti? There's no cause. Knowingly, unknowingly, that person did some service. That is why it is said as causeless mercy. It is not that you had certain qualification and therefore you got particular. There was no qualification. You just did it and you got it. Now that is how it began. Once you got that attraction to Krishna, you started practicing devotional service. Then your attraction increased more, and then you executed more devotional service, and then your attraction increased more. Then finally, when you commit to the process of sadhana bhakti, when you take shelter of a Guru, I will discuss this tomorrow. So when that bhakti lata beach comes, and then how you water it and everything, that knowledge is given, and that's how you manifest. But here we are discussing how you began the process. What is the qualification to even begin it?
So this is the beginning point where you get some attraction, and the more you serve, and then more you get the attraction.
Yes.
And
The more attraction you have, the more you are qualified for executing devotional service. Even Krishna says, What is the price for purchasing bhakti? Tatra api lolyam. That's Krishna bhakti ras bhavitam atihi kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. Rupa Goswami say, wherever you are getting Krishna bhakti, just purchase it. What is the cost? Tatrapi lolyam mulyam api ekalam. The lolyam is the only mulya. What is that lolya? Intense eagerness, intense attraction. So not to just begin it, but to attain perfection. This is the only qualification. How much attraction you have towards Krishna. Even when by executing devotional service, ultimately our attraction is increasing. And it increased to such an extent that Shunya Idam Jagat Sarvam, Govinda Virhename, that even a one moment of separation appears like, yoga, years of separation. It reaches to that point.
So, Prabhuji, you said that the Agyat Sukriti is causeless, the devotee's mercy, and no, we don't know, right? How does it started or like that?
That is why the name is Agyat. Otherwise, it would have been Gyat.
So, isn't it some Krishna's nice arrangement for that?
It's causeless. You can say everything is Krishna's arrangement. Then that's the point. Is it's causeless.
So if there is some restriction in the family and others are not devotees, some like any seva, maybe in the especially in the case of monetary terms, if somebody is serving by to the temple or the Vaishnavas and the other persons do not know, so that person, the person who is earning in the family will get the Agyat Sukriti, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Bhagavatam says if even one person becomes a pure devotee in a family, or 21 generations are liberated. What to talk about Agyat Sukriti? The family is liberated of a pure devotee.
Yes,
Okay, yes, next, Harshita Madhuri.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you said the qualification is how much taste you have for hearing. So now, since we don't have taste for hearing, and hearing is the process by which we will get more qualification. So how to force oneself to करने का मन करता नहीं है और इसको करे बिना we cannot advance. So how to force oneself, or in other words, how to stay determined to follow these principles of this.
Your entire class tomorrow is an answer to your question. So just wait till tomorrow. Okay. Sadhana bhakti means that. How to do that. And it is not that you don't have taste. If you wouldn't have taste, you wouldn't have registered for Bhakti śāstrī. You wouldn't have been patient to hear, to sit for 2 hours and to listen to all of these things. You definitely have taste. And now that taste may not be the kind of taste that Sanatan Goswami had, or that Lord Chaitanya manifested, or the pure devotees. So that's okay. We are not there yet, but you do have taste. You do have attraction. It's not that it's not there. It is there. Only thing is, it needs to become more strong. It needs to be cultivated more and more. How to do that, what happens, and all the questions will be answered once we understand the concept of sadhana bhakti. What exactly is sadhana bhakti? Till the time we understand, all these questions will always remain in our mind. Yes, Rukmini Mataji.
Prabhuji, Agyat Sukriti, causeless mercy. So mercy, who is bestowing mercy? Like if somebody is
Devotees.
Sorry, Krishna and devotees.
Krishna. When we say Krishna, means all those things.
Yeah.
They are bestowing mercy.
And one thing, Prabhuji, I asked earlier also, but can you please help me the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, the definition of faith? Once you told that.
Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kaile Sudrid Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krit Bhai.
Thank you so much.
What is Shraddha? That faith that by following Krishna consciousness, all works will be done, my all obligations are completed. Sarva karma kritva. And the answer to your previous question, the first verse of Guru Ashtakam, Sansar Davana Lalidha Loka Pranaya Karunya Dhana Dhanatva. So Krishna's is an ocean of mercy. But Guru is like a cloud. He takes the water and bestows upon it. And we can expand that Guru, and then all the Vaishnavas, they bestow the mercy. But they are bestowing mercy of whom? Which is coming from Krishna. Okay, any other question, clarification, doubt?
So
comment?
Prabhuji, like you said, the more we serve, more we are attracted. And this is a secret, right? How can we be more attracted to Krishna? Just by serving.
The more we execute devotional service, the more attraction is in it. See, each word is very specific.
Okay.
The more you execute devotional service,
Okay.
that service has to be there. What kind of service? Devotional service. What is devotional service? The definition of Uttama Bhakti is there. You do all that, your taste increases. Okay, so please go through what we are discussing in the session. Even if you spend 5 minutes of your own time revising the concept, looking through the book, reading it, there will be a lot more retention, and there will be a lot more churning that can happen. Yeah. So encourage all of you to revisit these. If you have questions, please bring them up in the conversations. Okay, and here those Prabhupada's classes, they are very nectarian classes. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any other thing? We are stopping now. Okay. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you.